Oh, boy, do I need a haircut. All right, here we go. I'll just do it. Just do it. See what happens. My mute. Oh, these guys. Here we go.
Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This Is 50 with your hosts, Travis Holmes and Shayne McManus.
Shayne! Oh, he's not here today. No, he's not here today. So, hey, it's Travis from This Is 50. We appreciate you guys listening to us this week. I know we've been off for a while, so I'm trying to, I'm doing this one here, this show to explain everything that's been going on for the past couple weeks or so. I know we had this huge following, huge audience that's been following us, and a lot of support, and a lot of people were like going, hey, you know what, I can really relate to all the stuff you guys have been talking about. And I don't know if you've noticed that, you know, in the beginning of this whole entire journey that we've been taking as far as, you know, two adult males that have turned 50 and the world that surrounds them, and what we're still kids at heart, you know, and we're trying to be adults, and just the frustration and everything that's been going on. Shayne was really excited about doing it. It was his outlet. It was his release as far as, you know, getting a lot of things off his chest. And as the show progressed, he realized that, hey, you know, there is a lot of stuff that's balled up inside, and same with me as well. And he has a lot of stuff that's been going on behind the scenes that you guys don't know about. But as the show progressed on and his obligations became more and more, you know, personal at home, he was just kind of going through the motions. And I'm like going, hey man, you know, let's do this. Let's, you know, take a break, and then, you know, come back the next week. We'll do something else and continue on. Well, he called me up a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago, and said, hey man, you know, I just can't do it, and I don't want to let you down. He's like, don't be mad at me. You know, I'm like, Shayne, I understand. So not to dive into too much of his personal story, but we've talked about it here on the show, so it's nothing new. You guys have known this, that Shayne's daughter she was an addict. She recovered. She did very well. Unfortunately, in the process of her recovery, she had a stroke, which left her completely immobile. You know, they went to doctors. They said, you know, we can do this, we can do that, and eventually got her stable enough to where he could bring her home. And she's in technically a hospital bed. So when we talk about, you know, going upstairs and downstairs and all the stuff, the contraptions and stuff, this is all real. This is all Shayne's real life. And in the process of, you know, trying to take care of his daughter and getting her to move, she can breathe on her own. So everything's good there. There's feeding stuff that she's got going on. I don't know the details on that, but she's doing all right. You know, she's doing okay. From the last time I talked to him, which was about a week and a half ago. But to compound, you know, the frustration of taking care of your daughter, your kid, you know, who's completely immobile. You know, she lays in a bed and she can't talk. She can't blink. She can blink. I mean, the normal, stuff that your brain does without your thought, but she can't talk. She can't, you know, act, laugh, do anything like that. She can't move her arms. She's completely immobile. During this process, you know, Shayne's trying to get her to do stuff, not to do stuff, but, you know, to take care of her so she's at least comfortable. And slowly, I guess she goes to physical therapy a couple times a week. So he physically has to pick up his daughter, who's, you know, at one time was a healthy, beautiful, you know, 120, 130 pounds. I don't want to call her out as far as, you know, she's not 200 pounds, but, you know, an average daughter in their early to mid 20s, who's barely 100 pounds now. And, you know, he has to pick her up every time and put her in a chair, and, you know, they go to physical therapy and they work her through the whole thing. You've seen TV shows and everything like that. But he, on top of this, his wife of many years, I mean, They've been married for a very long time. They have 2 beautiful children, and he has a son as well. And her father, his father-in-law, was just recently diagnosed with stage 4, some kind of cancer. I don't know what he got. I didn't get into the details of that, but he has moved in with them in the spare, the extra bedroom that they have on the other side of the house. Now, he's okay for the most part. The father-in-law, he can walk up and down stairs. He's still mobile. He's still, out there. But he has to go through chemotherapy treatment, and he has to go through all this stuff. So Shayne, being, the great guy that he is, he has, he doesn't work. His full-time job is taking care of his daughter and taking care of his father-in-law and making sure the house, the interior, the inner strength of the house is riding on his shoulders. So he's just trying to keep everything together and, taking his father to and from whatever appointments, blood appointment, prescription appointment, doctor's appointment, chemotherapy appointment. And myself, knowing that what my mom went through with her type 15 diabetes, I've joked about it many times, and she had to go through, my mom had to go through, what is it, with the kidneys where they flush it out? I forget what the technical name was. It takes about 4 to 5 hours. So when he goes to these appointments for his chemotherapy, it's 4 to 5 hours that he has to sit there and wait for this to be done. And then, load him back up in the car, the vehicle or whatever, and bring him back home because, you're weak at that point and you can't drive. So he's been shuffling around all that. And then to come on this show and try to have somewhat of a life or some kind of a fun with this program, this is 50 broadcast, the podcast that we've created between the two of us. He's just not having fun doing it. And unfortunately, I feel for him. I understand that. I'm hoping, I've reached out to him several times and hey man, you doing all right? You doing okay? Is there anything I can do? That type of stuff. Unfortunately, we live about an hour and a half apart, if not hour and a half, 2 hours from each other here in North Carolina. So it's not like I can just jump on a bicycle and go down to his house and, help him out do something. And same thing, reverse. If I was to go over there, who knows if, he's going to be in the middle of doing something or just can't talk or just can't be sociable at the time. So that's where he is. That's what's going on there. Just to give you an update, we're going to continue with This is 50. So if you like the sound of my voice and all the stories and all true stories, by the way, they're all true stories, and the stuff that's been going on, if you're a man or even a female, getting close to that age of 50 years old, I saw a meme the other day that said, at 10 years old, I'm talking about our generation. I'm talking about you and I, people born in like the late 70s, early 80s. No. Sorry. I don't want to lump the 80s people in there. My wife's the early 80s, born in the late 70s, if not early 60s. Let's put it that way. There was a meme out there that said, when we were 10 years old, we were 30. And now that we're 50, we think we're still 30. And that's the absolute truth of what's going on as far as the way we have evolved technology-wise, social-wise. It's a brand new world for a lot of us. And unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I believe that this generation, the people that are turning 50 or, plus or minus 4 or 5 years, I think we've seen a lot of stuff. We haven't seen anything that our grandparents have seen, depressions or anything like that. But this is a whole new genre era of just evolution of what this country and what everything, the world itself has done and what is expected out of us. So that's the latest. So hopefully we'll get Shayne back on the air. I reached out to him actually yesterday to see if he would, charm us with his presence on today's show. And I didn't get a response. So when I don't get a response, he's not very good at responding to text messages anyways, but I didn't get a response. So I'm just assuming that he's head down focus and doing what he needs to do at his own homestead and taking care of business over there. So we wish him well. He's not gone from the show, believe me. He's just taking some time off to figure things out and get a good solid routine for the most part. We need routines, and I think he's just trying to figure that out. And this show, unfortunately, was just not working into his routine to where he could actually put 100% into it, even 90% into it, and enjoy it at the same time. So we hope you are enjoying the show. So that's the latest. All right, we're gonna take a quick little break, and I'll tell you what's been going on here at my home, my household. So stick around. We'll be right back. Now, this is going to be weird for me because normally I talk to Shayne and I bounce things off Shayne. And, you hear me yell at him and stuff, Shayne, what? So I'm going to miss that portion of it. So you're just going to have to bear with me as I try to figure out a new routine as I talk to you, our audience, that we appreciate each and every one of you for listening. And I do a couple other podcasts that are very, very outlined podcasts, We're going to talk about this subject. We're going to talk about this subject. This is the break. This is what needs to be. Here's our sponsors. Let's do all that stuff. So I have to kind of dumb that down a little bit and just be with you, our audience, listeners. So bear with me as I try to figure that out. This is a new avenue for me as far as just discussing things that are going on personally that normally I really don't get down and talk about. Now, one thing that's just recently happened here on our property, we have, can I bring you down anymore, I guess? We have a bulldog. Her name was Cookie Puss. And unfortunately, a week and a half ago, November 30th, she passed away. We did everything that we possibly could. We took her to the doctor. She wasn't eating up until she passed away. Like for 3 days, she wasn't eating. But with bulldogs, one of the things with bulldogs is they can't stand up. They lose muscle mobility just because of their legs are so short. Sometimes they have hip dysplasia and all that. And the doctor, the veterinarian, did blood work, did everything. Everything checked out great. Kidneys, heart, blood, ACL1 level, all those levels were perfect. They were perfectly great. So to help her with her arthritis that was infecting her joints and everything, we were starting to do like a laser therapy. I don't know if it's a gimmick or anything like that, but you put this almost like a flashlight that's connected to a big cord that's connected to like a battery. Like you ever seen over at Pet Boys where they roll that battery thing out to test the battery in your car? It's kind of like that. And this flashlight, everyone's got to wear glasses, and they, rub the laser beam over there, and it's supposed to draw blood to the arthritic area, and you can stand up and walk around a little bit better without any pain. She wasn't in any pain at all, other than the discomfort of not being able to stand up. So unfortunately, she passed away. So that's what I've been dealing with. And when Cookie passed away, that was the last dog that we had. My wife and I, over the last several years, we've had dogs here. And, as time progresses, unfortunately, one by one, they passed away, and this was the last dog that we had, and this was it. We have a little cat in the house, and that's for the most part. It's depressing because when you've had dogs for the last 15 to 16 years, you look around the corner all the time for that dog, that smiling face, those eyes looking at you to tell them, it's like having children. I don't have any children. My wife and I do not have any children. She doesn't have any children. There's so many couples out there that have, split families, or what do they call them? Heinz 57 families or something like that, where, one wife, especially, during our age and everything, they get married at in their 20s, because that's what everyone told them what to do, and they have a couple kids, and then late 30s they get divorced, and now they're working on their second family, And I never did that. Well, I say never did that. Not that that was my plan, but I just didn't see anything in my future for that. And then I met my wife and I go, oh, well, maybe this is my future. And so we've been married coming up on 10 years in a couple months. So we've never had children, but our dogs, you know, they always say, oh, our children are furs or feathers. So that's what we have. And Cookie passed away. She passed away in the middle of the night. She in her sleep. So when something like that happens, and you know, you hate to say close to the holiday season, like my wife and I are just kind of like sitting there going, I don't feel like decorating. I don't feel like, you know, it just kind of took us out of the holiday spirit. And when I say that, it's because, you know, even today she was asking me, you know, what do you want to do this weekend? I said, well, my Christmas shopping's done. I don't know about you, but mine's all done. I did Walmart, Amazon. That's all. It's slowly rolling in here at the house. Boxes show up. FedEx drivers are, you know, high-fiving each other as they're passing each other on our driveway. And, you know, so I've done all my shopping. And so she's got to do all her shopping this weekend. But she's like, we need to finish putting up the lights. And I said, well, what about, you know, this cluster of decorations here? She hasn't put up her nativity scene or anything like that. And she said this morning, she's like, I really don't feel like putting up the nativity scene. I said, I know. I said, it kind of took the fun out of this holiday season. You know, I don't feel like we should celebrate. And everyone out there, you know, all the tough guys or whatever out there, oh, it's just a dog. No, dog's a family. And when you lose that one, so unfortunately, it took the steam out of our holiday spirit. We're trying. My dad keeps it interesting. But yeah, he's still here. He's still kicking around. He's still doing his thing here on the property. One of the things that he did the other day, when my dad goes grocery shopping, God almighty, we bought a deep freezer just for the two of us. We need to buy a deep freezer just for him because everything that he buys, you know, from the grocery store is frozen. Marie Callender, Jimmy Dean, you know, Swanson's, all those meals, he buys them frozen. He does not cook at all. He even quit making tea. Now he's a sweet tea guy, you know, where you steep the tea on the stove. But he was realizing that he was going through it so fast. As soon as he would make a batch of tea, I said, Dad, you might as well just go ahead and start another pot of tea on the stove because by the time, you know, Tuesday comes, this is going to be empty. You're going to have to sit there and wait for tea again. So he started buying tea. And when I say buying tea, he buys gallons and gallons of tea. And you're like, well, that can't be good for him. Yes, it's not good for him because the doctor says you put on 150 pounds since he's moved up here. Actually, I take that back. He's probably put on about 110 pounds. 110 pounds. So he's pushing easily, you know, 320 some odd pounds of a guy. When my mom passed away and I went down to see him, he looked like, oh God, like the crypt keeper. I mean, he was barely 175 pounds. So do the math on the difference on that. But since he's been up here, that's all he's been eating. And one of the things that he did buy, he doesn't know. He has no gourmet taste. He has no food taste or anything. He bought Hot Pockets. And I go, Dad, what are you in college or something? Why are you buying Hot Pockets? You know, they look good and they were on sale. And, you know, a couple days later, he had one. He goes, they're too hot. I know. There's a whole joke segment out there by Jim Gaffigan who talks about Hot Pockets. That's how he made his millions. I said, Dad, they're garbage. They're disgusting. And he goes, well, I'm not going to eat these anymore. Actually, he goes, I'm not going to eat these anymore. And he's like, you want them? I go, no. In my early 20s, Dad, I've had my share of Hot Pockets. They can say double meat in there. They can say better crust or whatever. They're still garbage. I'm sorry. They're garbage. Unless Hot Pocket wants to sponsor the show, by all means, they're great. I will eat one here on the show, live on the air, and burn the roof of my mouth because it's molten lava. So he goes, well, what do you want me to do with them? Can I give them to the chickens? Now, this is when Cookie was still around and still walking around in the yard, going to the bathroom. I said, no, Dad, don't give any of them to the chickens. I said, unless you're going to sit there and watch them eat it. He goes, okay. So fast forward to, it's nighttime. Everyone's turning themselves in. And I let Cookie out to go to the bathroom for the last time for the evening. And I look out in the yard, and there's like 3 or 4 Hot Pockets, like just thrown out in the backyard. Now, we have chickens that we let run, rampant through the property. They're free range, and they go up at night. And that's where we get our eggs and stuff from. But he thought the chickens were going to eat them, so he threw them out there at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I go over there, and Cookie's, Cookie, what are you doing? She's just sitting there. What are you eating? She's eating the goddamn Hot Pocket. Now, the Hot Pocket's frozen. Hasn't had a chance to thaw out yet, so she's sitting there mowing on it. I'm like, Dad, you can't. If you're going to throw this stuff out there, you've got to sit there and watch to make sure the chickens either eat it all or they take it away because, Cookie, who we're, trying to make sure and make herself comfortable through her remaining days, does not need to be shitting all over the floor with this, highly processed food thing that you've been throwing out in the yard. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think about it. I'm like, I know, Dad. Story of my childhood growing up. I didn't think about it. Hey, why is Travis sitting on the floor playing with knives? Oh, I didn't think about it. That's the way I was raised. All right. I'm going to take a short little break. I'll tell you how, I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I was going to go into the Golden Bachelor. My dad gave me some news about getting old and stuff. So I'll share that news with you as well. So stick around. I'll be right back. My wife watches what I call smut TV. She watches like Love Island. She watches I don't know if she watches The Bachelor or not, but she watches all those shows like Too Hot and Too Sexy for whatever, and she just the cringe value is why she watches it. At least that's what she tells me. I don't know if she's sitting there watching, all the beautiful guys and the beautiful girls or whatever that's on the show, but it's all smut. It's like not softcore reality show, but it's just there's a lot of flesh. There's no wardrobe budget for these shows. I mean, if there is a budget, it's small, literally small budget for the wardrobe. But there was something like the Golden Bachelor that's out now, and I don't know if you guys have watched that or not. I think it's over now. I know we're a little bit behind. Sorry, a lot of things going on over here, but the Golden Bachelor was on, and I introduced it to my wife, and I think we were in like we started like in episode 4. You get through all the rigmarole, the introduction, and all that, and I said, let's start on season or the 4th episode, because I watched the first 3 silently in the closet where no one can hear me. But I said, babe, you got to watch this. This is season, or it's the 4th episode. So we're watching it. And she's like, oh, this is really bad. This is funny, but bad at the same time. And, the guy was going on about his wife, 42 years and so on and so forth. And, now he's back in the dating world. He lost his wife. I don't know. I forget what the actual storyline was, but I guess he lost his wife several years ago, if not more than 10 years ago, and hasn't really dated. And there's a lot of whole other garbage that came out of that. And I looked at Amy, my wife, and I said, if you passed away for whatever reason, I said that would be it. I said, you are it. Till death do us part. I said, that would be it for me. She's like, I couldn't do that. I said, well, first of all, if you pass away, you really technically have no choice. It's not like going, okay, I'm out of here, and you hit a button. I'm gone. See you later. She's like, but I wouldn't want you. I wouldn't want you. how did she put it? I don't want me being alive knowing that if I pass away, you're not going to go find happiness, when I'm gone. And I said, jokingly, I said, well, maybe happiness is when you're gone. And of course, after I picked myself up off the floor, how does Pan get here? And jokingly, I said that. I said, that's it. I said, I've always been raised or brought up in my family, my fellowship and everything, that, you get married. If she passes away or whoever passes away, that's it. I don't want to marry a second place. I don't want to marry or get to know or be involved with a second place person, because essentially, if you want to break it right down, you've I don't know what your dating scene is like. But myself, I've dated, several, serious people, several relationships, and they just didn't work out. And I'm like, whew, dodge that bullet. But I've had relationships, this is good, this is not good. But I've had several long-term relationships. And then I found my wife, and we dated for a very long time because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't making a quote unquote mistake, that the people that are our age or my age or your age as well, if you're listening to this, and there's a reason why you're listening to this show is because, we're all at a certain age, but when you're 20 years old and 22 years old and, you got big old eyes, as big as the Milky Way looking at the world, and you get married early, and then all of a sudden it breaks up and it doesn't work out. You just kind of go, all right, well, that didn't work out. Now what do I do? Let's go find myself, and then go find a relationship is the way it is. I didn't want to go that path. So I found myself first, figured out what I wanted first. And then, in the process, dating several different people. And then finally dating my wife. And we dated, no lie, we probably dated about 8 years before we got married. But it's, it is one of the best decisions I've ever made in my whole entire life. Now, if she passes away, no, there's no reason for me to go out there and search for another partner. I'll have friends, I'll have, acquaintances and things like that. But as far as like jumping into like the Bachelor scenario where he's 72 years old and he's looking for another wife, no, that's second place to me. I would never do that. Now, one of the things my dad said to me, my dad's 77 years old, and I told him about The Bachelor, and I said, hey, The Bachelor is this show, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I don't want to watch those kind of shows. I'm like, all right, well. And I said, I told him the story about, if Amy passes away and what I would do. And he goes, well, let me tell you something, Trav. I said, okay. He goes, my, and this is my dad talking. He goes, my dad, your grandfather, passed away at, I think he said 87 years old. And his father, my great-grandfather, passed away at 77 years old. So there's a 10-year advantage there. He goes, so I outlasted, or grandfather outlasted his dad. And I'm thinking, oh God, I got another 10 years with my dad. No, I'm kidding. But he switched it over and he goes, your mom outlasted her parents and so on and so forth. He goes, so you got really, really good, strong genes as far as longevity. On his side of the family and my mom's side of the family. My uncle, actually my mom's sister is, I think, 89 years old right now, just lost her husband, and he was 94 when he passed away. So, I've got some of my mom's genes, of course, and some of my dad's genes. So I'm looking forward to at least 99 years old. That's what I'm looking at, just to get, a longevity out of it. But he says, I've got good genes. He's like, our family has good genes as far as, longevity and living out a long and healthy life. Unfortunately, my wife, not to bring you down, I know the whole show is about death. My wife lost her brother early in life. Accidental. He passed away accidentally. And then her dad passed away in 2019 of a heart attack. And I always fear that, a heart attack. Now, my mom had a heart attack. She recovered. She went through it and everything. My dad drank and smoked all the way up until, I think until he was 66. So there's something there. I've got some kind of, bulletproofness through those genes. But yeah, we talked about it. And I said to Amy, I said, if you pass away or I pass away, I said, first of all, if I pass away, you can do whatever you want. I'm dead. I don't care. I'm not going to be sitting up there, arms crossed, tapping my foot on the floor. What are you doing? But I told her, I said, if you pass away, I said, that's it. You are the one. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that I need to go out and get a second place. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about that. I mean, everyone's different. A lot of people can't wait till your significant other passes away. Jesus, get out of my hair, please. Would you die already? And then you see, all these people that end up in the news where, husband shoots wife or, gilded lover, whatever. But that's a conversation I have with my dad and my wife about getting older and moving on. For the most part, I don't think I would ever move on. So, all right, we'll take a quick little break. I'll be right back. Oh, you're still with us. Great. I know. Everyone's looking at their watch going, what's this guy? When's he going to get to the funny? Well, here comes the funny. I know. I just had to give you an outline of why we've been off the air for the last couple of weeks or so. So hopefully you guys can forgive me and understand. And I don't need hearts and prayers. I don't need, clicks and likes. I don't need all that stuff. Just to understand. Thank you very much for bearing with us and continuing to support us. Just all you have to do is just listen to the show. That's all we ask. And if you want to put a thumbs up, great. More power to you, and we appreciate that. So this is 50. We're trying to get Shayne back here. Probably won't see him until the new year. But that's our outline right now. That's our time frame as far as getting through the holidays, and let him get through the holidays what he needs to do. Now we are getting into the funny now. So I ran out of steak sauce the other day. I know the simple things, the main ingredients in life. My wife made a couple steaks, and I don't know, but if you when you think steak, people say like ribeye, people say strip, then people go filet. I've never heard of a skirt steak until I met my wife. Skirt steak's really, really good if you can find it. A lot of places don't have a skirt steak. And then there's flank steak. And then there's all those other flanks or other steaks, different cuts of meat. One of the cuts of meat that I completely love that's underrated, but you have to do it right, is if you can find a London broil. I know just the name sounds fancy. Oh, what do you have there? I've got a peasant piece of filet. Oh, really? Well, I've got a London broil. Doesn't it sound fancier? Does it? My wife makes it perfect every time. She does it in the oven. I think she just broils it, like hits the broil, sticks it in there for 4 minutes, pulls it out, flips it over. Of course, she dresses it with the seasonings or whatever around on the outside. Flips it over, sticks it in there for another 5 to 6 minutes, pulls it out. It's perfect. It's tender, it's juicy, and it's all based on the way you cut it. You never want to cut with the grains. You always want to cut against the grains. There's an episode of, what was it called? Let's Eats. What's the thing with Alton Brown? Good Eats. He explains how to cut a steak based on the strands and everything. It's a great episode. You should watch that. So I was eating, or I'd love to have steak sauce. Now, the only reason, in my mind, looking back at my history of my life, the only reason why I chose steak sauce is because I thought it made you look like an adult. Adult people have steak sauce, A1 sauce, on their steaks. I just thought that's the way it was. So when I got to a certain age and as a kid growing up and going out to restaurants and what do you want to eat there, little Travis? I'll have a steak. But everyone at the table, the family, he's getting a steak. He must be an adult now. Yes, I am an adult. How would you like your steak? And then you go, well done. All right there, Junior. Well done steak. Here you go. Here's the bottom of my shoe. Enjoy that. And of course, as you get older and everything, you learn how to actually order a steak and how to order a steak and the different cuts of meat. I can't stand ribeyes. Ugh, just too much cutting around fat and shit. No, the fat's the good part. No, it's not. It's garbage. Throw it away. There is some fat that's spongy on there, but there's those ligament fats. Ugh. But when you have a steak, can I get you any steak sauce? They always say that. Can I get you any steak sauce? And you're like going, well, I don't want to say no. If they're offering it to me, it's kind of like when you go to Olive Garden, they say, tell us when on the cheese. You just say no out of politeness because you think the guy's arm's getting tired. That's the only reason why you say no. It's kind of like the steak sauce at a steak restaurant. Do you want some steak sauce or anything? I'm like, oh yeah, I do. And then you look at your partner. What do I need the steak sauce for? Oh, I've never had it. All right. So you get the steak sauce and you put it on there and now you're an adult. Look, you've got a steak. You figured out how to order a steak and now you got steak sauce on there and the trifecta is complete. You are an adult now. You have to eat. This is the way you're going to eat steak from now on. And then good steak restaurants say, oh, no, you don't need the steak sauce. It's the good just the way it is. My wife, for many years, we used to have for Christmas dinner, we would get there's two cuts of a filet mignon. There's I think that's called top choice filet mignon, and then there's the chef's cut filet mignon. The filet mignon chef's cut is $75 per ounce or something stupid like that. The top choice is $25 per pound or something like that. I cannot tell the difference between either one of them. And I put steak sauce on both of them. We've had them both for Christmas. My wife gets mad. She's like, I made this blue cheese butter melted whatever that go on the steak and you want to put steak sauce on it? You might as well put ketchup on it, is the way her attitude is. But I ran out of steak sauce the other day and my wife made the London broil, and I'm looking around in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, I don't have any steak sauce. What am I going to do? My first instinct was to put horseradish mustard on my steak. Now that's, you hear about people putting horseradish on ham and cows and pigs and goats, not goats, are kind of like in the same family. So I was like going, well, maybe I'll get that. And then when I opened up the refrigerator, I don't know if you've seen this before. Hold on. At the stores, they sell a whole bottle of Arby's sauce. Oh, yeah. They also sell a whole bottle, I think it's like 16 ounces or something, of the horsey sauce. The white one. That's what you put on ham. So I'm looking at it and I'm like going, do I choose the mustard? The Dijon mustard or the horseradish mustard to put on this? Or do I choose the Arby's sauce, this commercial brand thing that I've bought because we made roast beef the other, for whatever reason, we made roast beef and bought that to go with it. And I'm like going, well, and I'm sitting there talking to myself. I'm like going, well, technically, the London broil is a lower end meat lower end meat. Kind of like the roast beef, roast beef, it's kind of the low end. I mean, you don't eat, you shave it or you cook it until it completely falls apart, but no one orders like a roast beef, like a thing of roast beef. It's always in a stew or something where they've completely overcooked it to break down all the tendons. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to use the Arby's sauce on my steak. And I said, oh, I'll use this. And I go in the setting up my meal or my TV tray or snack table, as my wife calls it. And she's like, what do you got there? I said, it's Arby's sauce. She's like, you're putting Arby's sauce on your London broil? I said, babe, we're out of steak sauce. We're not out of steak sauce. I go, yeah, we are. She said, this is what gets me. You mean to tell me the man who lives and dies by steak sauce on steaks, on any red meat like that, we're out of it? I'm like, yeah, I think we are. Sure enough, she goes in the pantry, finds one like way hidden in the back. Good value or something we must have bought, as an emergency, just in case a hurricane comes up here to North Carolina. I'll have steak sauce. That's all she was worried about. She's like, here it is. I go, no, I'm going to stick with the Arby's sauce for now. So that's what I did there. Arby's sauce on a London broil. It wasn't bad. It was good. It was good. Now, one thing that we've been doing here on the household is, as I said, all of our children are either furry or feathered. We have chickens here. I think last count we had, oh God, I don't know. She was counting them the other day and she lost count. So that's how many chickens we have. Enough for her to lose count trying to count them. We've been doing the Whole30 diet, as you guys have listened to the past couple shows and stuff. And I've lost 26 pounds, by the way. Thank you very much. And if you can see me on the video over on the YouTube channel. And I've been boiling a dozen eggs because I will have, a hard-boiled egg in the morning with a non-complex starch, which is usually a baked potato with nothing on it. Actually, I take that back. I'll have a baked potato with malt vinegar. I know. Ooh, no calories there, though. And the horseradish mustard or the yellow mustard on top. No calories there as well. So it's all good. We all win in the long run. My wife goes, how can you put mustard on a baked potato? I said, you put mustard on French fries, right? She's like going, yeah, but it's different. It's not different. It's the same, basically the same species. So we go around in circles on that. But when I boil the eggs, everyone's got their own version of goddamn eggs. Boil them for 15 minutes and then put them in an ice bath. And then, dance up and down and jump around and then they'll peel themselves. Or, put a spot of vinegar in there or throw salt in there. It's a whole, everything is a friggin', it's, damned if you do and damned if you don't. So I was boiling some eggs and my dad, he buys from the grocery store. Here we go with my dad buying, everything processed food. He buys a bag of already hard-boiled eggs, shelled and everything. 8 of them at Food Lion for $5. $5. My dad pays for these stupid things. I'm like, Dad, we have 22 dozen eggs in the refrigerator. Boil them and peel them. I don't like boiling them. I don't like peeling them. All right, fine. So I started doing that for the last couple of months, boiling the eggs and peeling them. And I'd peel them and they'd come out fine. But this is the way I would boil them. I would boil them for probably 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I know that they're nice and cooked. Then I drain the water out and let them sit in the sink overnight. Next morning I get up, they're completely chilled. Crack the egg, everything comes off, that little skin comes off, they come off nice and neat, put them in a bag, Ziploc, boom. 5 at a time in a Ziploc so I can piecemeal them out. He's like, oh, those turned out good. I said, yeah, I know they did. I did them, Dad. So he takes a bite of one and he looks at it and he goes, your mother used to make me make boiled eggs. She always said I cooked them too long. I said, okay, where are we going with this? I didn't know you can cook them too long. He goes, you know how you can tell that you can cook them too long? I'm like, oh, here we go. Why'd I open that can of worms? The yolk has, you ever seen the yolk when you take a bite of it, that just on the very, where the yolk meets the white, it's kind of dark green? I said, yeah. He goes, you've cooked it too long. I'm like, okay. He goes, it tastes different. I go, no, it doesn't. He goes, yeah, your mom used to yell at me all the time. Or, hold on. he said, your mom used to tell me all the time that I overcooked them. I said, did she tell you that you overcooked them, or did she yell at you that you overcooked them? He goes, well, yeah, she yelled at me that I overcooked them. I said, okay, so now how do I, when I boil a dozen eggs or an 18-pack of eggs, how long should I boil them for? I'll only boil them for like 12 minutes. All right. Starting when? When they go in the water? No. You have to bring the pot up, the pot of boiling water up first and then put the eggs in there. So you're telling me, Dad, guy, that I got to take these eggs and drop them in boiling water? Two things are going to happen. One, I'm going to scald my fingers. Two, I'm going to drop this egg into water. It's going to crack on the bottom, and then I'm going to get this like big egg tumor on the side of the egg once it boils. Well, no, you can put them in there first, but once it starts boiling, then start your clock. All right. Now we have a gas stove, and gas stove cooks pretty quickly sometimes. And I'm sitting there, and I'm literally, what do they say? Don't you can't watch a boil pot. A boil pot watched never boils. I sit there and watch it. My wife will come by. What are you doing? And I got my phone. I'm playing little games on my phone. I'm like, I'm watching the eggs boil. Well, how long you put them in there? My dad says 12 minutes. All right. How long's it been? I don't know. I've been sitting here for 20, waiting for the water to boil. Well, she's like going, well, once they start boiling, then just take them out. They've been in there for 20 minutes in the hot water. Yeah, it's not really hot yet, is it, babe? Not really. So as soon as it starts boiling, she comes in. Now, I got two chefs in the kitchen. You know, my dad telling me this, my wife telling me this. And I said, all right, fine. I split the difference. I let them sit in there for another 5 minutes boiling, pulled them out, put them in the sink, like I said, rinsed them off, threw some ice on them, let them sit there for an hour or two, and then came back at them. When I peeled them, I have no patience. I have no patience for things that don't work like I know they should work if people would just listen to me. You know, I know when I do the eggs, I know, riveting stuff. This is what happens, you know, when you're 50 years old. When I do the eggs and I boil them and then I let them sit and then I come back, they peel perfectly. I listen to my dad. I listen to my wife. I did exactly what they told me to do, and I'm not sitting there, you know, I'm not, all right, you guys know a little bit more than I do. All right. So I did exactly what they did. As soon as I peel the egg, half of the egg gets ripped off into the shell. I'm looking at the friggin' yellow part. Now, granted, it doesn't have that green coating on it, but still, half of the yellow or the white stuff is in the sink. This is garbage, and I just get so mad. I get so fucking mad. I'm peeling them. As soon as the egg dissolves in my hand, slam it right in the sink. Fuck this, right in the garbage disposal. Next one starts dissolving. Fuck this, right in the sink again. Out of a dozen eggs, I probably got 7 good ones. Where are the other ones? I poured salt on them and I ate them, babe, right away. I ate them right away, so no one could. I was starving. So, well, you got to do it this way. And I said, no. I said, from now on, I'm doing it my way. So no one in the house eats hard-boiled eggs anymore because I won't do it their way. But if I do it their way, they don't want to sit there and peel the eggs. I end up peeling the eggs. So that's where I'm at with that. There you go. Eggs peeling and stuff. All right. When we come back, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll talk about one more little thing, and then I'll let you guys get back to doing what you got to do, all right? I don't know where my outro is on that. I'm still working on it. I don't have Shayne here to bounce off stuff, so bear with me while I figure this out. Stick around. I'll be right back. Looking at myself on the YouTube video. We had to switch it up a little bit, so you'll see a different camera angle and stuff. And I shaved my beard. You know, when Jim Morrison, who I fucking hate the Doors, by the way, hate them. I say I hate them. Everyone was like, it's the concept of they were playing music and then no one really got it. They're like, going, what is this band, the Doors and stuff? And then one person said, oh my God, the doors are really cool. And then they're like going, well, I don't want to be left out. Yeah, the doors are cool. Yeah, the doors are cool. And then they did all their stuff and they got famous for being mediocre at best. But Jim Morrison, he had a huge problem, huge alcohol problem and stuff. And part of that was when you drink too much alcohol and you just don't take care of yourself and you eat, 15 calzones at a time and you put on weight. That's why later in his career, he had a big old beard. He wanted to hide his fat face. And, that's common for people that when they put on weight, they grow a beard. Right, Melissa? No, I'm kidding about Melissa. Who's Melissa? Why is he talking about that? We got to listen to the past shows. But I usually keep a goatee, that 90s goatee that everyone had. My wife likes it. She thinks I look hot. But I shaved it off the other day and I was like going, wow, look at this right here. You're watching this on the video here. Look at that guy right there. He's new. 26 pounds I lost, right? Yeah, whatever. Fat ass. No, I did lose 26 pounds. But I'm like going, this is new. This is like skin that's fallen down a little bit. It was never like this before. Now I know why, some chicks sit there and they do pictures like this all the time. Hi. If you're watching this on the video, hi. Yeah, don't do that. Then they do the whole camera up so everyone looks down. I always want to look at them and go, hey, down there, what are you doing? Who are you looking at up here? Why is the camera on the roof? I know, some chicks are dumb. You're not fooling me there, Teresa. Teresa gets a bad rap on this show. Now, I was watching, scrolling through my Facebook feed, and I'm one to speak out a lot on stuff. I don't care, Oh, someone I've never met before to go, why did you say that? You're such an asshole. Yeah, I know. I am an asshole. I know that. This one girl said on Facebook, and I looked at her age when I saw what she wrote and what actually happened, the situation that happened. I looked at her. I said, come on, really? I looked at her profile and wanted to get some more information. She is a whatever graduate of whatever college, an AA or AS or whatever. Any moron can get an AS. I've got two of them. And she is some kind of director of whatever company she works for. She's probably I'm going to say late 60s. She's probably late 20s, if not going into 30s, but holding on to her 20s type deal. I don't want to go. I haven't got married with 4 kids yet. Said that she pulled up to the gas station and first of all, couldn't figure out what side of her gas tank is on. Now, I know the new cars and have that little where the gas tank and the arrows pointing to what side the gas tank is on. That's a genius move, by the way. I guess the women's revolution has helped us out as far as getting that little icon made on the gas tank there on your dashboard. But then she pulled up and she grabbed the nozzle to fill up her car. Now, you would think a woman or anyone who's in their early 30s has filled up a car before, gas, put gas on the car. Now, things are going to change. All the electric vehicles are going to be, where do I put in the batteries type deal? So you would think this person's probably filled up a gas tank or two. She said in her post on Facebook saying that she pulled up to the gas tank or gas station and there were 2 nozzles there. She said that she grabbed one of them, put her card in, hit her code, flip the thing up, pulled the gas nozzle up, and listen to me, follow me, tell me what happened. She put the nozzle to her gas tank and it wouldn't fit in the gas tank. It wouldn't fit in the little hole that you have there to put the gas in there. So she's like, well, shoot. Oh, hit the camera there. Sorry. She's like, well, how am I supposed to get gas? So she hangs the nozzle up, walks inside, pitching a fit. This is what she said. I was so mad. I actually went inside the gas station, talked to the attendant, and says, how come your gas nozzles don't fit in my car? And the person behind the counter, he's making, well, now they're probably making $18 an hour, but still $18 an hour, is like $2 an hour when we were growing up. They were like going, I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. All the gas pumps they all should fit. Well, they didn't fit because it's not working. So someone needs to come out here and pump my gas. So she said the attendant came out. Girl put her card back in there. He grabbed the other nozzle and put it in her car and filled it up. She's like going, well, how come that one doesn't fit and this one does? The kid looked at her and goes, I know, everyone's looking at me right now. That's diesel. There's a reason why they make those nozzles bigger. So morons like you don't put diesel gas in your car. Well, what's the difference? Oh, God. Where do I start? Where do I start? So she couldn't figure it out. And her thread, after she told this whole entire story, she was mad at the guy that was being condescending to her and didn't explain to her why the big gas nozzle doesn't fit in her little tiny hole. There's a joke there somewhere. Ow, it hurts. And the whole thread had like 120 some odd comments. I had to take myself out of it for a while, turn off notifications of this thread. Because the first thing I said that was a diesel nozzle. Because diesel nozzles are bigger. They're larger in scale because they need to fill like the big, I say big trucks. You have 26 footers that come in there and they've got, 2 55-gallon tanks on either side. You don't need this little, you don't need to fill your gas tank up with a little straw. They need a big old cannon. She just didn't get it. The concept was not there. And is that where we're at? Is that the mentality? Now, like I said, she seemed educated, at least on her profile pic. She could put that she won, Nobel Peace Prize on her profile pic, but no one's going to check that out. She said that she was a director of something of operations of whatever corporations, Fortune 500, I don't need a man type deal, but obviously you do. That's the thing that I saw there in the comments. And then I went back and checked on it and she turned them off and refused to answer anymore or respond to any more of those comments. So that was the little thing I was like going, there's a separation there where people just, they weren't taught, they weren't involved. Maybe she didn't have a dad. Maybe she was the kid from a marriage that split up when the person turned 22 years old. And now, this person's 22 years old because that would have made the mom now 40. And this girl who's 22, 23, going into 30s or whatever you want to do the math on that one, she hasn't figured it out because there was no man to help her out, or just anyone in general, just helping her out. I mean, just common sense stuff. Well, there you go. I will ask one favor from you guys. I'm out of goat soap. You guys probably heard me a couple shows back, actually, saying that I'm out of goat soap. I love goat soap. So if you are a goat soap company and would like to be part of the This Is 50 podcast, hit me up. You can email me anytime. Just follow all the links and stuff that are on the YouTube channel and stuff. And we can get together and we can talk about some stuff because I love goat soap. Oh man, I love it. Makes my body feel good, nice and soft, nice and smooth. I feel so clean. I smell so good. But I would love a nice sponsor out there. And normally I don't beg for sponsors. We have a couple sponsors here we love very much, but I want a goat soap. I want some goat soap. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this show. Appreciate you guys listening to us, catching back up with us. And in the words of Shayne, I'm going to say, okay, see you, bye.